Unscripted.
From the heart.
From the heart.
From the heart.
Real
Real
talk.
talk. Real talk.
Real talk. Welcome back. Welcome to the yet another one. The real talk. From the heart. We speak stuff that comes from our hearts. We are talking about stuff that comes from the heart. Today I wanted to talk about something that I regard to be very, very important. As a young man, I was ready to defend my mother, and I was ready to die for my mother. Yeah, and whatever it took, I was ready to fight and protect my mother. My mother was a king. I come from a royal family, and my mother was a chief. My father was supposed to be taking that role, but he was in the mines working for us. Then my mother was supposed to be there and had to take over and lead the community and lead the village. And there's always a problem with men who hates to be led by women. There's a lot of men that don't like to be led by women. I don't know why. Even if the woman is qualified, well qualified, and deserves that position, but we as men, we always find it very difficult to be led by a woman. And there were a lot of men who disrespected my mother because she was a woman, and they didn't like to be led by a woman. And that was wrong, and that pissed me off. Every time they showed disrespect to my mother, I would be very, very angry. And I wouldn't let any man to come in and show disrespect to my mother when my father respect my mother so much, and shows a lot of love to my mother. And you find a stranger, someone coming from nowhere and showing disrespect to my mother. I wouldn't dare let that happen. Then I was ready to die. I was young. I was 14, and I was ready. I was ready to fight anyone who was showing disrespect to my mother. This is what happened. One day, I went to look after the cattle. Went to the field looking after the cattle. I come home. When I get home, I found my mother. She's not at home. And I asked my brothers and my sister was not there. And asked them, "Where's mom?" They said, "No, mom went to this hospital." Hospital, yeah. Because my mother was not well. It was not strong. And after this, as she was suffering from that cancer, and she wasn't that strong, And then the scars on her stomach of operations, and we knew that when it was cold, and sometimes she would be having difficult times, and she will be going through pains. And I thought maybe it's one of those. And I said, "What happened?" And my brother said, "No, this man, he called the name of the man that beat my mother. He said there's another man who beat my mother, who beat our mother, and he broke my mom's arm." I boiled with anger. I was crying. I boiled with anger. I wish I was there. I wished I could meet that man. I wished I can do something to that man right away. I went to where my father hid the gun. I couldn't find the gun. I was thinking if I had money, I could go buy petrol and just lead that man to death. Put fire on him and he dies. I was thinking horrible things in my mind the whole day. And my mother comes back with her arm being covered with that, you'll tell me, her arm was covered with that white thing. I remember the name of that. The name, and she's broken. I asked my mother what happened. My mother said, "Man, no, don't worry, boy. So and so did this to me." And my mother saw anger in my eyes, so super anger in my eyes, and she said, "Boy, don't do anything stupid. Whatever happened, God will punish the man. Don't ever do anything that you will regret. I don't want you to go to jail, and I don't want you to do stuff that will make you not focus on school, on your school. I want you to finish your school and be a better man and create a world for yourself. Stop. Don't think of anything." Because my mother knew I had temper, and she knew also that I couldn't let anyone show some disrespect to her. And then my father was coming on that weekend, and my mother sat us down, and she said to us, "Boys, I want you never tell your father what happened. I am going to tell your father that I was feeding the cows. One of the cow was violent, and the cow flipped me in the sky, and I fell, and I broke my arm. Do not ever tell your father that I was beaten by this man." And the wisdom woman, because my mother knew that my father was going to cause chaos. There was going to be a war, and she didn't want that to happen. And she said, "I don't want your father to fight this man and kill him, because now once your father has killed that man, or your father is killed, life will be difficult for us. So I don't want any fight. I don't want any chaos here. So don't tell your father anything." We agreed, because that was wisdom. We agreed, but me, I was angry, very angry. But we agreed because, yes, once my mother brought the point of us going to suffer if our father is not working, or is jailed, or he's killed, life was going to be difficult. We knew that life was going to be difficult. But I grew up very angry. I wanted to take a revenge to that man. But my mother talked me out of it. This man, as my mother said, he was gonna be punished by God, or he was gonna get what he deserves. In the later years, the man died a horrible death. Somebody came to his house and butchered him, killed him terribly. Then whatever that happened in that time. It was a time to get punished for what he did, because he was also hating other people and hating his family, hating his kids. Hating other people, hating his kids and his wife. So maybe it was his time to die in that form. We're not happy that he died in that form, but what I'm saying is, if you do horrible things, you'll get horrible things at the end. You kill by a sword, you'll die by a sword. It's sad. We can't change that. Now another incident. And this time, it was in the morning, early morning. I'm sleeping. I hear my mother exchanging words with somebody, with a man outside the house. And I could hear that this man is swearing at my mother. I couldn't stand that, because somebody hit my mother before. I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want another man to come in and hit my mother. Somebody hit my mother and broke my mother's arm. No man was going to do that again. Woke up, grabbed the knife, went out. I interjected. I just said, sweat at the man. I didn't know what was happening. I sweat at the man. I grabbed the stone. I threw the stone to the man. But by this inch, I missed him. And that man stopped swearing at my mother. He was quiet. And I told him that I'm going to kill you. And he left. He never said anything. He left. And I was happy. I was happy. I felt like I'm a hero. I've defended my mother from the man who wanted to harm her or hurt her. And we come back into the house. My mother sit me down and he said, boy, don't do that again. When old people talk, don't do that. Because you will kill people. Your anger will put you in trouble. You'll kill people and you will be jailed. And I don't want you to go to jail. I want you to do your school, finish your school, focus on your school, and be better at it. Don't do stupid things. I agreed. But I was happy. I was a little disappointed, but I was happy that I defended my mother. And no man was going to come in and show disrespect to my mother or hurt my mother in front of me. When my father respects my mother, when my father loves my mother, when my father never laid a hand on my mother, then I wouldn't let any man to do that. Another incident. This time I was in the soccer field watching the match. Come back home. Match was over. Get there. I want to see my mother. Mom, where's mom? My brother said, my mom went out with another man and his sister. And my mother was, with another friend of hers. And the man was there and swearing at my mother and saying horrible things to my mother. And I was angry immediately. I asked for direction where the direction they took. They told me that they went to a bus stop. I went to where my father hides his gun. Opened that place, took the gun. I ran to the bus stop. I was ready to kill the man if he was going to lay a hand on my mother. As I come close to the bus stop, I see my mother and her friend coming back. That means the man took a taxi or went somewhere else. And I ran back home. I hid the gun. And I asked my mother, what's happening, ma'am? What was happening? And my mother said, no, boy, nothing was happening. Nah, nothing was happening. I didn't ask more. And I asked her again and she was pissed off and said, I said that nothing is happening. Chill. She knew. And my mother was trying by all means every time to talk away. To talk me out of all this anger that I had and this fighting spirit that I have. But I was not gonna let any man show some disrespect to my mother or lay a hand on my mother when my father does not do that. Now, from that time, I was known that boy is very dangerous. I was a bull. I was very, very ready to fight, to protect my family, to protect my mom, to protect my brothers. So here is, because of the love that my mother gave me when I was a young boy, I was ready to protect her. I think as young boys are meant to protect their mothers. If you're a boy out there, small, young, I don't care your age, you must defend your mother. Your mother went through a lot of stuff for you. You must defend your parents, your mother. I'm not saying go do violence or kill people, but there's so many ways of protecting our parents, our mothers. With your finances, with your respect, with your time, with your love. Respect your mother, and protect your mother. And don't let anyone talk bad or want to disrespect your mother, because your mother is your pillar. And your mother is the most important person in your life. So as a young boy as I was always ready to do what? To take a fight just to defend my mother. Fortunately enough, after that, because I was known, people were talking about me around the community that I was I was a boy who wanted to kill people. Then the respect to my mother was restored. And every time man comes home to see my mother as a chief, I would always be in standby, waiting for anyone who was going to do something to my mother. I was ready. And I protected her because I loved my mother. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. That was the real talk from the heart. We speak stuff that comes from the heart. Thank you for your ears and support and your love. May the good God bless you, protect you, and give you hope, strength, and love. Keep doing what you love. It will come to pass. Thank you very much. May God bless you and give you all your heart desires. Thank you. I'm out of here. God bless. Unscripted.
From the heart.
From the heart.
From the heart.
Real
talk. Real talk.